Breaking news. The APA updated its DSM to recognize moral problems, including moral injury, as something that warrants clinical attention without branding you mentally ill. That's a doorway for help. In this episode, I'll show you how to use it to move from psych care to rescue. So your health, your license, and your livelihood always come first. Welcome to Operation Mental Health. This is the U.S. nurse led burnout and moral injury rescue. I'm Glennae Davis, BSN, RN. If you've been taking meds just to make it through a shift, in therapy for job caused harm, and your faith or finances feel like it's at war, that's burnout. And for many of us, the engine underneath is moral injury, being pushed into those impossible choices that violate what we know to be right. Here's the news. The DSM now recognizes moral problems, including moral injury, as the issue that deserves care without slapping a disorder label on you. That is such exciting news. Today we will learn how to recognize that recognition. Today we'll turn that recognition into a rescue plan you can use. What changed and why does it matter to you? When distress is work caused, unsafe ratios, retaliation for speaking up, impossible choices, our old default system was you're the problem, accept this diagnosis, take these meds, delayed return to work. That path often risks licensure and livelihood. The DSM update opens a non-pathologizing door. You can be seen, screened, and supported because of moral conflict itself. The real issue, the root cause. This gives us language to request protected time, structured recovery, and a safe return without making lifelong labels as your first step to dealing with moral distress and injury caused by work. This is such big news, you guys. This is such big news for clinical, for legal, for the individual, and I'm here to help you move into the right path to overcome the issue that has been holding and plaguing so many of our protected class citizens for so long. Untreated moral injury and burnout show up as depression like symptoms, anxiety, sleep loss, spiritual conflict, and real health risk. Families suffer, units lose capacity, patient safety is at risk. So, yes, the language shift matters. But language is just a key. We still need a doorway to walk through. That's the rescue plan. Let me share a story with you, okay? So let's take Maya. She's a 34-year-old ICU nurse. After months of unsafe ratios, she's forced to choose between breaking policy or delaying care. She reports a near miss and gets written up. Her sleep disappears. She cries in the car before every shift. Employees' health suggests you should see psych and start meds. Go to EAP. Maya learns that the DSM now recognizes moral problems. She goes to HR and says, my distress is tied to workplace moral conflict. I'm requesting protected leave and a structured return to work plan. She documents, files the FMLA, joins nurse coaching, and builds a graduated return. 90 days later, boundaries are in place, hours are restored, and her voice is still intact. That recognition turned into rescue. Oh, this is so good, you guys, because before she would just have to go and get diagnosed with depression, which is the number one diagnosis throughout the United States in our workforce, our nation's workforce, because so many people are having moral distress injuries within the workplace, and that sends them into mental health services without language and without recognition that it is actually the workplace. You guys, this is big. This is so big, and I'm so excited to be the first to bring it to you and the first to be able to have a rescue plan already in order, because I've been doing this since 2012. This is so exciting. So, recognize means naming what you're experiencing and why. No more malingering, no more going into psychiatric offices and saying, I feel like I have anxiety, I feel like I have depression, I feel like this, and that. When the issue is workplace that is causing and impressing them emotions out of you, because it's pressing and it's endangering your health and your heart, your life, your mental, and no more going into the doctor and being bound by HIPAA and privacy and confidential laws, because there is no language to come into alignment with what it is that you are already talking about. So your real danger can now be protected and supported and help you move through the situation without bowing or acquiescing from what your rights and your law is as a fully gainfully employed employee. So the language that fits this update is: my distress is consistent with a moral problem related to workplace events. I am seeking a non-pathologizing support and protected time to recover. So why is it non-pathologizing? It's non-pathologizing because we all know that stress not dealt with leads to disease. That inflammation, those spikes in cortisol levels is the precursor of disease, all disease. And there's only one or two things that you must do as an individual to overcome the challenge that is challenging your immune system, and that is to fight or flight. I like to say to rise to the challenge or to run, but both require wisdom as to what you're supposed to be fighting, rising to, and what you should be running from. So, how moral injury shows up: you're forced to make impossible choices, or punished for acting on your ethics. You're silenced, written up, or labeled difficult for raising safety concerns. Your body keeps the score: ruminating thoughts, dread, chest heaviness, spiritual conflict. Why the names matter? Why do these names matter? Why does it matter that you are having issues in the workplace, and now you are able to assign it to a moral problem? Because it shifts the attention to the conditions causing the harm and not deflected upon you. It opens the right doors for FMLA, for equal employment opportunity and HR protections, structured reintegration back into work, and spirit honored rest. It gives you the space to be able to say, you know what, this is happening and I need to do something about it. This is so big that it is going to prevent people from having early death, disease, suicide, poverty, because now there is language and a system in place for you to act on when things in the workplace is pressing upon you. We know how difficult it is for you to trust Yahweh when you are dealing with workplace issues and you're the head of household, or the breadwinner, and you own a home, and all these American dreams that you are living out are at risk of being lost, or maybe your health is failing. Maybe you don't want to lose your health insurance, or you don't want to pay for Cobra. I'm telling you, once you decide to trust Yahweh with your situation, health happens, healing happens, but you have to make that choice. And this new inclusion and recognition of moral problems and injuries in the workplace is your safe place to do these things, so that you can see the power of God among the land of the living. I am so excited about this, you guys. I'm so excited about this. I didn't even know how excited I was until, like, I'm just talking about it right now. Because when yesterday, I read it yesterday, and I said, oh, I got to change my podcast, because I was going to, talk about Charlie Kirk's sentiments about Black women not having the brain processing um, power to be taken very seriously, and just kind of say that that sentiment permeates throughout all of our systems, whether or not the person is racist or not. People have a very focused idea of who Black Americans are, and a very social media idea of the lives that we live, which are so far from the truth. It's just so far from the truth. But I don't want to harp on it. I do want to recognize that nurses and even protected class employees, you have rights for a reason. And if that sentiment permeates throughout all of our systems, academia, science, healthcare, whether or not it's racist or not, I don't really spend much time talking about social constructs of like racism. And the reason being is because we have so much bigger issues to handle, like the policies and the wickedness in high places. And if you're being distracted by the color of someone's skin instead of whether or not you are being oppressed and there's an oppressor, then you're missing the entire point of what it means to be employed. Okay, you're missing what it means to be employed, who your employer is, and when moral distress happens in the workplace, how your employer just changed from a physical employment to a spiritual employment. And it is up to you as the individual to choose good or choose evil and wickedness, because this is where it goes down at in the workplace, in the mind, at your identity, at whether or not you're going to use health insurance as your God, idolatry, and try to go into the mental health services to escape not handling the business that God has trying to call you to. Like, this is just so big, and this is just so amazing that this path is here, and that I have an opportunity and a space to be able to bring this to an expected end for individuals who are experiencing moral distress in the workplace, so that you can have your expected end, so you can have your unique health equity outcome that medicine cannot provide. Currently, medicine provides a social outcome of predicted outcomes, and more pills, drug addiction, disease occurrence. Like, none of those things have to happen once you learn how to be obedient and do the things that you're supposed to be doing in the workplace, so that you can remain employable, so that you can remain healthy, so that you can remain viable and used, and just beautiful and creative, right? So Let me just repeat. Why name matters. Words create options. Moral problem shift attention to the condition causing the harm, not a defect in you. It's nothing wrong with you. It's something wrong with the system. It's broken. It's wicked. Not you, but you become broken and you become wicked when you give your life to a thing that does not exist. Corporation, by definition, legal definition, means artificial person. Quit feeding the artificial person and losing your life behind it, right? Stop allowing your cortisol levels to remain chronically high. And here at RX for Life, we define chronic stress as stress lasting you longer than 6 weeks. Why 6 weeks? Because I believe that within 6 weeks, and even sooner, for those of you who have already mastered the art of self esteem and confidence in the workplace. But I say that because, even for my own experience, time is needed for my body and my spirit to understand and recognize whether or not the assault or the insult that has occurred, if it's meaningful or not. And the only way that you can know that is whether or not, over time, whether or not you have found rest with it. If you have not found rest in it, then there's something that you have to do about it. And that doing about it is rising to the challenge or running from it. And it takes wisdom to discern which two that you should be doing. And I know that people out there like, oh, I quit jobs, I do that and I do that. I would never tell you to quit a job. Nowhere in the Bible would God tell you to quit an assignment. I don't know where that thought came from. The only job that I've quit at the leading of the Holy Spirit was during the pandemic, and the company I was working for was doing some strange things for some change. And God said, your last day working is June 30th. And I was like, say less. And that was it. But, sometimes there's challenges that you need to face in the workplace, but you don't have the language, the understanding, the knowledge to move forward with, and you're not trusting in the Spirit. You're not trusting the leadership of the Spirit to get you through it. So therefore you don't do it, and you're stuck in conflict and this internal war. And that was, causes the mental illnesses and the mental depression and the cynicism about work. Work is amazing. Work is amazing. I love working. So if you don't find entrepreneurship is not anything that I would love to do. I've never been a seller. I've never been any of those things, but something happened in the workplace where I needed to share my story and share my experience and help shape mindsets and outcomes about work, particularly in the healthcare industry and for healthcare consumers who come in for medicine, when they need to be turning to God and asking Him, what you want me to do? what you telling me to do? Okay. So we talked about the impossible choices. We talked about moral injury shows up when you're silenced and written up, labeled difficult, and it raising safety concerns in the workplace, ruminating thoughts, dread, heaviness in the chest, spiritual conflict, and moral distress. Being recognized in the DSM now gives you an opportunity to shift those attentions and put them on the conditions that's causing harm, and not a defect in you, and give you God and time and legal space for you to honor your rest. Okay? So challenge means refusing the old harmful default and asking for the right door. Here are 4 steps where you can do this, okay? In light of DSM recognition and moral problems, I'm requesting protected leave. And a recovery plan that doesn't cause me to have disease, that doesn't cause me to be labeled with mental illness or anxiety that risk me returning to work, or the insurance company saying that I have to take medication or I may not be paid. Like these are this is a script that you can use. In light of DSM recognition of moral problems, I'm requesting protected leave, a non-pathologizing recovery plan tied to workplace event, plus a structured return to work with clear limits. That's my G baby calling, y'all. So, oh, it's GGG baby. Okay, just give me a moment. Hi, baby. Hi.
Hey, where you at?
I'm at home, girl.
Oh,
I'm recording a video for the. And he called twice, and I'm like, I told everybody, hold on, G baby calling. What's that?
Zizi,
Huh?
Zizi, I was in the cars.
What time you coming over? After you finish watching the cars?
Yeah.
Okay.
After he eats breakfast.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I'll talk to you later.
Okay.
Love you.
See.
Oh, sorry about that. So let's talk about challenge. Challenge means refusing the old harmful default and asking for the right door, the right way. What is the right way? And here are 4 steps where you can do it. So just script the request and just say it calmly. Say, in light of the DSM, use your own words. In light of the DSM recognition of moral problems, I'm requesting protected leave and a non pathologizing recovery plan that doesn't leave me with the burden of carrying a mental illness diagnosis. It doesn't leave me with the potential injury of taking medication for taking antidepressants that can injure me, numb me, because these issues are tied to the workplace events. I don't feel like I should be the one being diagnosed. Like, I just need to understand what is happening right now. And then I want to be able to return to work with clear limits. This is professionalism. This is actually the type of employment that good employers are looking for. They may not have the capacity because of ego to deal with a growing population of nurses who are structurally sound and confident and esteemed in their practice. But this is for not just your livability, your employability, and your practice for your patients, but it's also to provide just good health care. Number 2, you can choose the pathway. You can use FMLA or protected leave when stress becomes a sickness. If needed, workers' comp evaluation when a discrete workplace incident is involved. Do not enter the workers' compensation system behind depression. Please do not. Please get a consult with me or someone that you know and trust to help guide you through workers' compensation. And then you can escalate through HR and the EEO, the Equal Employment Office, or not even the EEOC yet. You have to deal with your employers before you go on the outside to tell on what's going on the inside. But no matter what path you take, please document everything. Document wisely: dates, facts, policy numbers, who was present, what you requested, what was denied. Keep a private copy. Stick to facts, not feelings. Your feelings do not matter. They don't. I'm so sorry to say that. The feelings do not matter. Take them to your closet and pray about them, but not even God want to hear your murmuring. Do the work that's you're supposed to be doing, that's assigned to you, and keep formal notes, journals, and everything about how it is that you're feeling until the end. Until the end. There will be an end. Keep everything until you have won your challenge. And then number 4 is to reframe your identity. You're not broken. You're being conscientious, okay? The problem is conditions that violate standards and values. So script the request that you want to take some time off and why you want to take it off. Behind moral injury, choose your pathway. Whether or not it's FMLA, protected leave, workers' compensation, or there's another one where you can take a leave of absence. So you have to decide on how you're going to do this. And we could talk about finances. If you were to come in as a client or something, we could talk about how to, delay credit card payments and talk to people about your financial situation and what it is that you're doing to get grace in those areas. Then you want to document everything wisely. You want to reframe your identity and the things that you are thinking about and how you're going to take care of yourself. And remember that faith is the anchor. Speak the truth in love. Truth telling is a health intervention. I was just reading in Proverbs this morning. Let me see. I'm not going to get it. But speak the truth. Truth telling is a health intervention. So protect means carry your body, spirit, and career on purpose. Protect your name. You set boundaries and rest. Treat rest as protective medicine. Sabbath is protection, not luxury. Structure your recovery. Weekly nurse-led coaching, values, honoring a rest plan. Graduate return, reduce hours, graduate your return. Reduced hours, duties, then ramp up. Take care of yourself. Don't do this for the team. There's no I in team. No, there's not. But there's a me in team. Me. And this is not being selfish, you guys. You have to take care of yourself. You can't pour from an empty cup. You can't serve and feed anybody with empty dishes. If you have thoughts of harming yourself, please call 988. We are not a emergency psychiatric department at all. You guys, so many people do commit suicide behind work, but in my years of dealing with this and hearing and knowing people who have committed suicide, people who are committing suicide don't normally be vocal about it. The people who talk about committing suicide, they're asking for help to learn how to die to self and let go of the issues of the world that are burdening them. They're looking for Christ. I know when I was in a situation at work and I just wanted to die. I just wanted to die. I did not want to have to deal with whatever was going on in the workplace, in the assignment that was on my life, and that fact that nobody really felt and understood what it is that I was experiencing. And every time I opened up my mouth, there was another prescription, another sample, another antipsychotic, another antidepressant for me to try at this time and try at that time. If that don't work, try this one. I had more medication at the end of 2 years, and every time I go in for my weekly visit was, are you having thoughts of suicide? No, but I am having thoughts of dying. And then one day the Spirit of the Lord said to me, die. Unless a kernel of wheat falls to the ground and die, it remains unfruitful. fruitful. You must learn how to die to yourself to become the fruit that you are that you are suffering through right now to burst through and come alive. But if you are having thoughts of harming yourself until you understand what the difference between suicide and dying to self, call 988. If you have space and room to learn, where you're in the middle of spiked stress, which is absolutely the best time to apply new concepts and new ideas, then come and join our Brave Circle. You don't have to carry this alone. A trusted peer group is here for you. We meet on Wednesdays. If you're listening to this, maybe you can ask your pastor, your church, to make room for the Brave Circle so that you can understand how to put these principles into action. And then paper trails. Keep copies of everything, every form, email, and plan an update. Privacy, safe, organized, and ready. Keep these things into the end of your trial. Spiritual or legal. Spiritual or natural, both are legal. Okay, so given the DSM recognition of moral problems, please route me to a non-pathologizing recovery plan with protected leave and a structured reintegration back into work. Going back to work does not mean that you're going back to the same situation, because you've taken some time to elevate and grow. Remember that sometimes, most of the time, in our spiritual growth, it's a circle. A circle. You can say a circle around a mountain. And then sometimes you keep passing the same things, but maybe you're at a higher level. So don't worry about repeated things happening and that you're seeing it. You're getting higher. You're not walking further away. The growth happened upward, okay? Until all systems catch up and all healthcare providers are trained on moral injury, connect with the only company providing a safe path forward since 2012. I'm Glennae, the founder and CEO at RX for Life. Start a confidential intake at glennaesrxforlife.com. DM me rescue. Labels are last. Rescue is first. Together, we can pivot, profit, and promise. Live in that promise that God has created and told you, okay? That is it. That is all. Until next time, be well.